I want her.
Which part do you want? Oh,
Sorry. She's going to read it too. Well, good evening. I am honored to have Athena here. She has become a very dear friend of mine, and she has an incredible story that we're going to share with you tonight. She is business partner at Turner & Son Homes and director of sales. And she has successfully led her sales team within the retail and banking industry, used her talent within the construction industry to take Turner & Son Homes to a 100% referral-based multi-million-dollar company. And she has an incredible story about how she almost bankrupted the company twice in her journey, which is a phenomenal story for you to be still standing here as partner and director of sales. Her passion for her community stems from her life experiences in overcoming her adverse child experience, which has drives her to bring awareness and hope to others. Athena speaks out to the effects of suicide through her firsthand experience in order to bring awareness and help with prevention. Athena is active in her community as a board member of Oklahoma Family Network and as a co-founder of Savannah Station Equine Therapy Program in honor of her daughter, Savannah. She's the owner of Athena's School of Sales and Marketing. In the late 2018, she launched her own coaching company, Athena Captain, which we'll hear about today. She'll also receive the honor of Prosperity Bank's Woman of the Year finalist in 2014. So with that, we're going to get started. Tell us a little bit about you and your upbringing.
Well, as the bio said, I came from a very humble background and had the privilege of having the ability to overcome a lot of adversity as a child. I don't have a pedigree, and I don't have a fancy college education either. So I failed on that to some degree, but I think I'm winning at life, so it's okay.
Absolutely. Tell us about how you became an employee to becoming a partner at Turner & Son.
So interesting, I used to work for a manufacturing company, and in that manufacturing company I helped start a commercial division nationwide and an international division. And I found myself becoming a single mom of a child with multiple disabilities. And becoming a mom with a child that's in and out of the hospital and traveling is not very conducive as a single mom. So I had to make a choice to leave that career and go somewhere that was family friendly and kept me home. So I was introduced to Tim Turner, who owns Turner & Son Homes, and he didn't have a position available, but after we met, I had met with a couple of other CEOs and it just clicked, it felt right. So he created a position and I made the transition and we started working together. And Tim gave me the impossible task we were a production home builder, which is where you build it and sell it, since 1964. And he had this dream to become a custom home builder on land. So those of you who know business, it's basically starting a whole new business. And so we had the privilege of figuring out the operational side of how to do that. And it was my sole responsibility to figure out the sales and marketing piece to that. It didn't make sense to pay for advertising since we didn't know our target market. We didn't know who we were going to sell to. We didn't know how they thought, their buying cycles. We knew nothing. So I had to create a system to figure that out. And I was fortunate that it has worked. However, as you mentioned earlier, the creating of that sales and marketing system really did almost bankrupt the company twice. It almost bankrupt my personal family as well. And I'm honest about this, and I gained 100 pounds in the stress of the journey. So that's the truth of the matter. So something had to give, and that's what got given. So, however, now in January of 2016, we went 100% custom build on land.
Wow.
And we decided we were going to be 100% referral based. And so I took the system I created and put it into action. We averaged about 3 referrals a quarter. And if you run a business, you know that's not going to get your bills paid. You'll be lucky to buy bread and milk on that. So, but now in 2020, we average anywhere from 20 to 30 a month.
That's amazing.
And it's a niche market, so for that, that's phenomenal. So it is in the creating of that system, through the difficulties that Tim and I have encountered to create that system, that I became, Tim can't afford to lose me now. And I hope he's watching.
I'm sure he would agree.
Yeah, he would.
So I'm going to unpack a couple of things that you said in there.
Yeah.
So first, how did you get through that hardship? Bankruptcy almost twice, business and personal.
Yep.
What did you lean to there? Who or what helped you get through that?
My faith, first and foremost, is what helped me, which always helps me. The support of Tim, he believed in what we were doing. He believed in me. The support of my husband. My husband was like, "You can do this." And frankly, and this is kind of beautiful, because of all the adversarial things that happened to me as a child, I learned how to overcome. And when we were failing, I'll never forget, and it's in my upcoming book, I write about this. I was standing in my bathroom and looking at the mirror wanting to quit. Frankly, I could have quit at any point and made a lot more money and not had any of this pressure or stress, and I would have stayed fit. And I looked in the mirror and I told myself, is this the thing that's going to finally beat you? Are you going to allow this? Of everything let's see if I cannot, of everything you've overcome, this is that thing.
Wow.
And I told myself, oh, hell no.
Good for you.
So I made a commitment that I was sticking with it and that I could do it. I called Tim. I said, I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but by God, we're doing it. And we're doing it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. In light of Martin Luther King Day, and I apologize, I don't have the actual quote in front of me, but that reminds me of a quote I was reading yesterday that he said, when you cannot run, walk. When you cannot walk, crawl. And no matter what, just keep moving forward.
Amen.
And I think that's exactly what you did. That's amazing. So you went from 3 referrals a quarter to 20 a month.
Yep.
I want that. Sign me up. My business needs that right now. So how did you figure it out? How do you do that?
Well, first of all, you read a lot. You gather information. What I found out is that, and we all know this, not one book has the answer.
Right.
So you have to be inquisitive. You also have to be humble. So you have to be inquisitive and humble and be willing to go out and ask for help. You also need to find the right mentors. So I credit Darren Hardy and his team. There was a time where Tim and I paid to go see him at an expensive, it's almost $10,000 for a weekend. We didn't have it, right? But everybody says invest in yourself or you'll fail. Well, I'm living proof. We did it. We just said, look, if that's the truth, we're going to do it. We didn't have the money to do it. The best decision we ever made, because at that, and I'll never forget it, it was in November of 2015. We're there. Obviously, I put it on credit to go, and that I didn't really have. And I walk out of day 1 session midday, and I look at Tim and I said, I get it. The missing piece of all those puzzle pieces I've been trying to get, I get it. And he was like, oh, and so we were so excited. Taylor Richardson of Thrive Insurance was there with us, and I was like, I get it, I got it. And then I came home and I started the last piece of the puzzle. So, being inquisitive, being humble, and really going out and investing in yourself, because that investment might open your eyes and ears to what you needed to see and hear.
Right. That's amazing. So, Athena Captain. So now you're running a business. You're director of sales, and you decide that wasn't enough. You're an amazing mom. And so now you became founder of Athena Captain. I'm going to ask you the hard question. What qualifies you to be your own brand? Who says you can? I'm going to have AthenaCaptain.com.
Right? Who is that? An egomaniac, right? No. So here's the reality first. I wasn't crazy about the Athena Captain thing at first, because who wants to put your name on something? What is the fail rate of a company, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to do this, and if it fails, it's my name. It's my identity, right? But here's the reality. The reason why we did and founded Athena Captain and what we want to do with it is I want to share my experiences in life. I want to share how people overcome a high ACE score in child abuse and the abuses, and how they cannot be labeled and they can make something of themselves. I want to share that you don't have to have an Ivy League education to be successful and own business. I want to share that through enormous obstacles in business, get yourself up, you can do it. You know what? You may get some wrinkles, you may lose some hair, you may gain some weight, you may whatever, but you can do it. And I want to share my prospecting plan that I created. I want to share that with the world. It was so hard to create. And so all of that is me. And so the platform really had to be my name, so that it gave me the ability to every aspect of what makes me me. And so that's why we did it, and that's why I'm a brand. And my dream, that, and you know this as my friend, my dream for the brand is to have the credibility to be able to make an impact for people who've suffered abuse, to make an impact for families with children with multiple disabilities, to make an impact for people, entrepreneurial people who want and desire to be successful. And if I can use my life experiences through that brand to open up doors and make connections for all of those, then it's worth going out and having the ego to say, I'm a brand.
I totally agree. I met Athena 2 years ago at an event where she was speaking, and it was so amazing. She stood up, told her story about almost bankrupting the business twice, and she had everyone's attention. She definitely had my attention. And by the end of it, we had 4 speakers that morning. It was a very long morning. And Athena had captivated me so much. I went up to her and said, we gotta talk. I need to know you, and I need to know all your secrets right now. So I'm excited. I can't wait for the book. Do you know a date on that yet?
It'll be this year. So okay. It's interesting enough. So I'm dyslexic too, to boot. And so I had somebody help me write the book. I wrote it, and then somebody who is not dyslexic actually is editing it and putting, making it publishable. So, and this is, I realize I'm saying this very real and out front there. It's been sitting, and I've been afraid to publish it.
Why?
I know that sounds crazy, but here's the thing. Because of it's the only thing in my life that I have literally created from scratch. It's my entire prospecting plan. And because of all the amount of rejection I had as a child, I am fearful of the rejection. And because it means so much to me. But what I'm learning through therapy, which I think everybody should have, is that it's okay, right?
Right.
If one person has helped through the book, then I need to do it. And I frankly need to publish the book because I just need to do it. It's going to be one of those things, so it'll happen this year, that when I do it, it'll be one of those other things that I look in the mirror and be like, boom, did it.
Drop the mic.
And boom, I did it, Say, dyslexic, can't be an author, well, there you go. So it's going to come out. My editor and publisher, they're not taking no for an answer anymore.
Oh, I'm not either. I have been waiting.
And people, frankly, in business, what is our number one problem? It's prospecting.
Yes.
Right? It's prospecting. And every company that I talk to, the people I coach, that's the problem. And that's my lane. Mm-hmm. It's, I know we joke about how, my husband, hopefully he's watching, calls me savant because I'm really not good at much other than this. I'm really good at building business and understanding prospecting. So it's a gift. And so it's time to share it.
That's incredible. I love that. Speaking of being great at one thing, too often as women, we have to be great at everything. And we have to be, not even great, we have to be perfect at it. We have to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect business partner, perfect boss. So how do you do it all?
I'm not perfect. That's it. And I'm not trying
Amen.
to wear that perfect. You know, I have learned to be very excited about what I am good at, and to relish in the things that I am good at, the impact that I can make. You know, I'm not worried about if I can't cook. You know, I can't. You know, I'm not worried about if I can't sew on a button. I don't want to know how to sew a button. You know, there are people to do the sewing of buttons. So, you know, I don't have to be good at everything. And I will say it is a struggle because you feel guilty. You feel like, well, if I hire this out, then somebody's going to judge me. Well, they're not walking in my shoes. You know, a lot of times, so this is a question I get asked all the time. Between my daughter, the multiple businesses that I'm partnered with, and the nonprofit work I do, how do you do it all? Because I don't do the other. Right?
Right.
I can do the things that I can make an impact, and frankly, no one's going to line up out the door for my cooking. Right? So why worry about it?
Right.
Right? It's not going to happen. Or any, you know, cleaning the house or other things like that.
Right.
And frankly, I'm the best mom my kid has. But she also needs me to be the best me for her to be the best, right?
Right.
So if I'm playing a game and trying to be something I'm not for other people,
I love that.
then I'm going to deny that for my daughter. So I'm going to be the best me for her.
Preach on.
Yep.
I love that.
Amen.
Thank you for giving me permission.
Amen. Go get them. Men too. Just do your thing. Go in your lane.
So, how should an entrepreneur maneuver in a space like this? So you have your own brand. You're going out there, you're speaking, you're writing a book. What could you give to other entrepreneurs wanting to jump into the same ship?
Again, seek help. We're not alone. Like, there is a room full of people here, there's a room full of people online that all have that desire and ability, people who've done it. If we share our know-how, if you help me figure out how to do speaking engagements, I help you with prospecting. We all have a gift, a lane. And if we can find those other people and we can pool knowledge and help one another, we rise the bar. So that's the first thing. Surround yourself with people that want to help you and that you can help. The second thing is get thick skin. Right? I mean, I've just been honest about my fear of publishing my book, but my gosh, you can't do this and have thin skin. I mean, obstacles are going to happen. There's going to be times you have to lay people off maybe, or you can't hire the person that you need, or that it's going to be harder than you thought. It's going to happen. And so if you're starting a business or in a business, it's really important to wake up and understand it's hard. Everybody do it if it was easy.
Right.
Right? And it's a commitment. And you, every single day, need to do what you need to do in order to make it a success. So don't give up. And don't buy into the excuses, right? So don't buy into, well, if this didn't happen to me, or if this didn't happen, or if I had this, right? That right there is kryptonite to entrepreneurial people. And when we buy that, we're sinking our ship. So, it's going to happen. If every single one of us opened up our little trove chest of obstacles to get where we were, they'd be full. So let's get real. And as a community, one thing I'd like to say is, it's really fun to talk about my fancy car, my nice house now. But you know what? No one wants to talk about when I was getting payday loans, right? Because of a dream. So let's talk about that it's hard. Right? And that the end is just a result of all of that.
Hard work.
You got it. And that success isn't a checkbook. I see so many people say, oh, I'm going to go into business because I'm going to get rich. Well, then quit. Because here's the thing. Go do your lane and go be passionate about something. Go make an impact on this society, on the world, and the money will come. Or it won't, but you'll die a really happy person.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
So I'm like, don't do it for the money. You know, if I was doing it for the money, I'd never blessed him. I would have never stayed at Turner & Son Homes. Ever. But then I wouldn't be here.
That's
I wouldn't
so
have the
true.
brand, wouldn't have the book, and I wouldn't know my lane. Do you realize that? Mm-hmm. Had I given up on the difficulties at Turner & Son Home, I would have never learned that I love rainmaking and prospecting. I would have never known that.
Found your passion
You
through
got it.
embracing your challenge.
You got it. Amen.
I love that. That's incredible. So a little bit about Oklahoma. What are the benefits of being an entrepreneur here? I know Oklahoma was named one of the best cities to start a business. And over, we get all kinds of accolades for being recession-proof. And so why Oklahoma?
The people. Hands down. I moved from the West Coast to Oklahoma because the community here embraced my differently abled daughter. Not that the services were better, by the way, they were worse.
Yeah.
But the people. And if you're brave enough to go into entrepreneurship, you need to surround yourself with people that are going to love you, support you, show you, pick you up when you're crying in your closet, which is what I do when I've just had it. Go in the closet, shut the door, and have a good old-fashioned cry. Right? Everybody in my family knows if she's in the closet, leave her alone. And I mean, everybody. And you don't hug me when I get out, right? Give me time to process. But I don't stay in the closet, right? But you need those people that know you're going to have a closet moment, but that you're not defeated. And so you need that community, and that's what makes Oklahoma so beautiful, is the people.
Right. So at Turner & Son, you have a partner.
I do.
At Athena Captain, it's just you.
No. He's a partner.
Oh, he is?
He's just a silent partner.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's because, I'll tell you, because what's my lane?
Ah.
Right? I know my lane. He does everything I don't do.
Right.
And I got a lot of criticism for that because people are like, well, you're the brand. Why do you need him? Right? Mm-hmm. But he's got a lane, and he's dang good at his lane. And I don't want to deal with his lane because I'll screw it up.
Right.
So I stay in my lane, he stays in his lane, and he is utilizing his talents and gifts and ability to allow my lane to go faster, for my voice to get heard more quickly. He is allowing me to go make the impact I've been wanting to make since I was a child by using his gift.
That's great.
Yeah, he's quiet. He doesn't ever, you'll never see him doing this.
For people that are stepping out,
Yeah.
and they're going to start a company, and they're trying to figure out, do I have a partner? Do I not have a partner? What would you say? The pros and cons to having a partner versus doing it on your own?
Well, okay, so the number one thing, because I've seen this go haywire, right, is you better pick the right person.
Right.
Right? I am blessed beyond measure with the partnership that I have. Now, it was forged in fire through Turner & Son Homes, right? So we forged that relationship, so I knew. But I would pick the right person. They have to have the same heart, mind, goal. Tim and I have, he understands. Interesting enough, neither one of us are doing the brand for the money. Will the money come? Yeah. It's not our why.
Right.
Right? So he's on board with that. So picking the right person and defining the roles. Right? I just did a joint venture with 2 companies recently, and with that, I'm staying in my lane. Mm-hmm. Right? The thing is, these 2 businesses here locally realize they don't know my lane. They don't know how to do my lane. So they asked me to come in and be a business partner to do my lane, and they'll do their lane. So you need to pick the right person, know your lane, and make sure that the person that you're picking is also humble.
Okay. I was going to ask you, how do you know they are the right person?
Humble. You know, if somebody is constantly looking out for themselves,
Right.
then they're not the right person. Mm-hmm. Tim is always protecting me. And he protects me oftentimes from myself. And what I mean by that is he's steady Eddie, right? And you know, this again is me being very transparent. You do not have a childhood like mine where you don't, and then as even throughout life where you don't struggle emotionally and have to have, you know, these voices that say, oh, you're not good enough or whatever, you know. Tim has a better self-esteem just by nature. So he is calmer. So when I'm like, oh, I don't know, he's like, come on, get back up there. Or when I'm like flying high, right? He's like, get back down here. So he's like, here, steady Eddie. And so, but he's so humble about it. Like that's what people don't even know. He does charity things people don't know. So that the person has to be humble and they have to be making it about other people and really care about you.
Right.
Yep.
What opportunities can improve on the local scene?
I think there needs to be more of this, right? I think there needs to be more opportunity for us to be getting together to know who each other are, right? I think that's the biggest thing. So I just said our biggest asset is the people.
Right.
So let's get together more often. And let's, you know, let's be bold about what our lane is. You know, talk about it. Just tonight I was mingling and, you know, I tease, I have this, what I call my value Rolodex, right? And I have to get to know people's story and what they do so that I can then maybe offer their services to people. Well, we need to be getting together and knowing each other's stories and knowing each other's lanes so that when, you know, we can not only help each other do business, but that we can tell the world that, hey, I know somebody that does this lane really well and you might need that for you. So I think we need to interact more. Go deeper in really utilizing each other and helping get the word out about each other. That's what I think.
Wow. So you're a mother, wife, entrepreneur, business owner. Tell me about your philanthropy. We mentioned Savannah Station.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you're a philanthropist.
Well, right? Why not? So 7 years ago, myself and 7 people started a equine therapy program called Savannah Station. And my Savannah loves riding horses. And she was with a different facility and there was a waiting list. And so 7 of us came together and said, let's build another one, right? Demand. And I'm not a horse person, I'm a city girl. But I know how to do business. Lane, right? Staying in my lane. So we created Savannah Station. I'm pleased to say I'm back on the board. I took a hiatus. I felt like it was time other people, and they did a better job with it, by the way. When I left it, they've created, it's much better. And now I'm back. I'm like, okay, you all made it great. Now I'll be back. But I'll step back in. No, but it's time to take it to the next level, so I'm back. But we started with 5 families, and now we serve close to 40 kids.
That's
it's
amazing.
free for the families that have special ones, and it's Savannah Station means a lot to me because Savannah's my only child, and Savannah is a wheelchair user and doesn't speak with words, so I won't get to see. You know, I've never seen her walk. I'm never going to hear her voice. A lot of the things that people get with having children are not part of my life. But on Tuesday nights, when it's not too cold, I get to watch my daughter come alive, enjoy a sport, participate. And I get a little of what every normal parent gets every day. I get on Tuesdays. And I get different things during the week, but that for me is the piece of normal for me. And she lights up the arena and giggles the whole time. And it's her little, I swear when she goes to heaven, she's going to run the stables in heaven because she loves her horse. And she loves her dad's big old jacked up truck. I don't know where she gets it because I'm not that girl at all. But so that's Savannah Station, and I'm currently, right now, as my friend, you know that we're doing this. I have a coalition of families that we are working on creating for lack of a better word, but a college for adults with disabilities. So there's nowhere right now for our kids that are aging out at 18. There's no place for them to go, especially the ones that are incontinent or that type of situation. So we are creating it. We finally, just this weekend, we came up with the name, the mission statement, the vision, and I'll be applying for the 503c. And this coalition, it may take us a minute. As you guys know, nonprofit business is a business. But mark my words, it'll be done. Well, I'll make it happen. I'm surrounded with some very talented, gifted people, and we're all going in our lane to bring it all together to make it happen. So, and it's going to be, the name of it will be RISE.
Oh, wow.
And it will stand for Relationships, Independence, Safety, and Empowerment.
That's incredible.
For our adult kids.
That is much needed.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially in this state, just in general.
It is. And so, again, the people, there are a lot of people that want to do it. I'm finding in this group, you guys, I think, will appreciate this. You know, when I started telling people we were going to do this, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. Who wants to come with me? Because I got to do it. I mean, Savannah's got 3 years. I got to figure out something. So there were so many people came out of the woodwork that had the dream, but because they weren't getting together, the dream stopped. Interesting, the power. So we've only met 4 times, and we already have a vision, mission, statement, name, applying for the 503. We're already seeing doors start to open, all from the power of collaboration. So it took a dream that is overwhelming, by the way, it still is, but a dream like that seems unattainable. When we brought these people together, now it's going to happen. So there's the power of pooling resources together.
I love that you haven't allowed the lack of funding. You opened up Savannah Station. Did you even know where the money was going to come from?
Well, we started raising money before we even knew where we were going to ride. I mean, right?
Just locally, just friends and family?
We started what we did. So we went out and just told people what we were going to do. And we explained the dream. And we prospected to the right market, and we got it. Now, just like the struggles I had at Turner Son, do you think Savannah Station didn't have a lot of financial obstacles? Come on, right? Tons. It has taken 7 years for them to be amazingly comfortable. But we still need funds, right? We have to raise funds consistently. Right. We'll have the same issue with RISE. But again, if we're afraid of where the money's going to come from, put money away for a second. Build the dream, the money will come, right?
Right.
If we build a dream and we're passionate about it, somehow we'll figure it out. And I think that's where you got to start. Just don't be afraid.
All due to your prospecting. It's amazing how you talk about your passion is prospecting, and you have now created 2 nonprofits and 2 companies and multiple other businesses just by staying in your lane. It's impressive.
Thank you.
And finding the people to do it with you. I'm going to turn it to the crowd, and we'll open it for questions. And then we'll close with a good story from Athena.
Oh.
All right. Who has a question?
Thank you for coming tonight and sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Very inspiring. You had gone to the conference, invested in yourself.
Yes, sir.
Without giving away maybe the secret sauce, what was the moment, and what did you identify at the conference and the speaker that gave you the aha moment? Can you share with?
Absolutely, love to. Yeah, I'm an open book. I'm like, okay. I'll tell everybody everything. So it was a Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy used to be the editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. Now he's a mentor. His passion is helping entrepreneurial people realize that they can do it. So it was a 2-day conference. It's called his HPF, High Performance Forum. And it is one of the greatest group. You get about 80 to 100 people that all are committed at that financial level to be there. And so it's a high caliber of attendee. And he he basically, Darren tells you everything that he's learned over the years of interviewing and creating multiple businesses himself. And the secret, so the book that you get is like this big, right? So there's no way you're going to execute on all of that, right? So if you come away from one of those things and you execute on 10 things, if you're lucky, good for you. But the thing that he taught me is I understood what an avatar was. So a client avatar, and I had created some client avatars. What I was missing, and this is going to sound so simple, but it wasn't simple until he explained it to me, I didn't have an avatar for my referral partner, right? And you can't find what you don't define, right? So I was like, well, duh, so simple. So I went and I realized I had to create an avatar for the referral partner. And it was easy. And then it was just executing on then what do you do with that referral partner, which that took a little bit more working to do, which is going to be outlined in my book and I teach. But that was it. That was the aha. And then I found when you've got, at that point, Turner & Son Homes had, I think, 5 referral partners. We just did a meeting, we have over 300. Hello? That's 300 people being my advocate, helping me. 1, because they know we're going to supply a good product, right? But 2, because I support them and I advocate for them. And I believe in them. So that was the thing that Darren taught me that I executed on, and it's just been, that's secret sauce right there. Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Really appreciate it. You said that your relationship with Tim was kind of forged in fire, and you guys have known each other for a lot of years and been building this relationship, but not every entrepreneur is necessarily going to have the opportunity to build that relationship with their potential future partner. What would you say to people who are looking to get into a kind of partnership, but what are those key identifiers and those factors that help you to know, like, this person's going to be a good fit for me without having all of those years to build that relationship?
Great question. So I'm not trying to plug Darren Hardy here, but another thing he gives, and it's for hiring, and he says everybody should have a core attributes of characteristics of people you want to work with. So he has 12 for the people on his team, and Tim and I have created them for our team. So I would tell you what you need to do is sit down as a human being and figure out what are my 10, 12 character attributes that anyone who's working with me must possess these things. And if they don't, they're out, right? And when I say quality, I'm talking about ethics, integrity, character. They're all character things. Because it's easy for somebody to manipulate you with actions. Their character you can start to see. And I would want character witnesses. I would want to know. The other thing, and I know this is going to sound, this is all Athena. I've not read this anywhere. This is just my gut feeling. If they don't have long-term relationships in their life, they're disqualified. Because they haven't proven that they have the capability of working through what real relationship takes, right? Because real relationship is not easy. And being in a business together when you're stressed about how you're going to pay something, who's going to do what when, all of that, that is a stressful situation. And if they haven't built the character box of figuring out some life skills of how to have deep relationships, then sorry. I've not found anyone that I want to do business with that didn't have long-term relationships.
It's a profound point. I'm going through my head.
That's the first time I've ever said that, by the way, out loud. I think it, but.
I'm thinking you said business partner,
Thank
and
you.
I thought you said spouse, because I was like.
That too. That's the same thing.
And having this conversation with my daughter.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Man. Got it. So I have a co-founder, and when disagreements arise, how do you work through that?
Well, so Tim and I are polar opposite. He's an engineer, and y'all can tell I'm not, right? So we're very different. And it's no different than any relationship. So Tim and I have the ability to have a very dialectic, hard conversation. And And we have. I mean, there have been times where there's never rising of the voice or anything like that, but if you felt the intensity of the disagreement, that you would think that we were, going to go our separate ways. But what kept it is, one, we have the ability to disagree, right? So that's safe. Two, we treat each other with respect even when we want to strangle each other, right? So that. The other thing is we understand and we listen. So I listen to his point of view and he listens to mine. And oftentimes, in the beginning especially, we'd have to take time to process, right? He and I process information differently. And so then we'd come back and then he would filter and I would filter and then we would have the conversation. And so we were both allowed each other the ability to disagree. We treat each other with respect. We listened and allowed each other to process it appropriately. To one, not forcing the other to, no, you make a decision now. And then I think you're putting me on the spot, so I'm going to tell you one that just came to my head that I think is the most important. And that's grace. Having grace to allow the other person to fail. And both of you learned through it. And, you're not going to make all the right choices, right? You're going to make some bad ones. But in the bad, you learn tenfold, so it's worth it. So having the grace to not even forgive, just be like, okay, that wasn't the best choice. And then let's learn from it and move on. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just easy question. What's in your Rolodex?
So I have, it's funny, so in my prospecting, I teach that one way to prospect is to have what I call a value Rolodex. And a value Rolodex is full of people you know, like, and trust, and you've vetted, that you can share with other people. So when you're speaking to somebody, it could be just a friend, that you are consistently listening for where they need help, right? And when you hear it, then you got that Rolodex going, and then and it doesn't have to be right then, right? Because actually in sales, y'all, you don't want to answer it right then, right? You want to go home, and what's your name?
Ryan.
So Ryan, if you and I were meeting and you told me, hey, that you needed X, what I'm going to do is I'm going to know I have that person for you in my Rolodex. I'm going to go home, and then I'm going to reach out to you in 24 to 48 hours and tell you, hey, Ryan, I have a connection for you. What are you going to do? You're going to know I listened to you. Mm-hmm. And who doesn't want to be heard? Right? Then I'm going to help you. And then, by the way, I'm going to call the person and I'm going to help them too. So I just got to help two people. And now it also gives me a reason to call you back to ask you how the conversation went. Right? So that Rolodex is just being a connector, but having the right heart about it, right? Okay? So if you took this and were like, I'm just going to do this because I'm hoping to get something from it. Doesn't work that way. No. Right? Because you're sowing something positive, and it's not like instantly, Ryan, you're going to call me for business. Doesn't work like that. You just keep adding value. And so building that Rolodex, it not only will bring you prospects, but it will help the other people, right? And so you're consistently helping. In my sales classes, I teach that when I used to have to do cold calling and warm calling, which praise God, I don't do that. I hire people to do that now. And we have enough referrals that she doesn't even do that. But I used to keep myself motivated, I knew from my prospecting plan how many calls I needed to make and who I needed to call and all that stuff, right? Okay, semantics. But for fun, I had a minimum of referrals every day I had to give away. And I had to do it. And I would track how many referrals I gave away. And referrals didn't have to do with building a house. It could be anything, right? So at the end of the day, if I gave that many referrals away, then I had a great day. And I got to feel good about it and make an impact. And funny enough, my pipeline started to grow. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm curious about your book.
Yes.
it's obviously very personal to you. Tell me about the journey of the book. When did you first have the idea that you were going to write it, and how long has it taken?
Okay. So I knew 3 years ago I was going to write this book. And the book is literally about coming to know Tim. It talks about me being in the mirror and saying, are you going to let this be the one thing? And it talks about the Darren Hardy moment, because those are defining moments in this journey. Then I literally outline the system that I created. How to find your target market, how do I prospect, I outline it. So that when you read it, and it's not written anyone can do it. Like, you'll read it and you'll be like, well, duh, why didn't I think of this, right? It's not hard. It's so simple that you're like, what, right? It's simple and executed consistently, you'll have an impact. So that's what the book is about. So the book has been finished for over a year and sitting in my house. And I was reluctant to publish it because there was a couple of more tweaks at Turner & Son Homes that I had to do to have Turner & Son running at a level where I felt like I made it. I'm there now. I felt if I launched it any sooner than that, that I'd be a fraud internally. And so I couldn't do it. And I just had this standard of this is where Turner & Son needs to be before I put this out there. Because I've had coaches that I paid a lot of money that told me they knew something worked and it didn't. And then I found out they read it in a book, right? They didn't do it. Well, I'm sorry, I read lots of books, but if you don't know how to take it and apply it and make it and tell me do this and it really works, you're not helping me, right? So I just had this bar. I've met that bar, and now, so we meet that bar. Then I woke up in the mirror and I was like, oh, well, what if people hate it, right? So then now I'm like, okay, Athena. So now I'm like, okay, you hit this bar, and now you're telling yourself, what if people hate it? Well, we all know that's my own head trash, right? My own internal whatever. And this is just a new obstacle. I need to just get it out there. And I'm not going to try to get rich on it or anything like that. It's just something I have to do. Plus, and this is how I think I'm going to finish it. I want to be like, hey, a dyslexic person just wrote a book. You know, boom, check that off my box. You know, it's so funny. So my best friend of 35 years, long relationship, dad, her family's all uber intelligent. They're super smart, smartest people I know. And I love her dad's like basically like a surrogate second father to me. And he says to me, of all my kids, I never thought you'd be the one that wrote a book. Right? And he's right. So that's why I have to do it, right? Because no one would think I would do it. So that's the journey. So now it's just Athena getting out of her way and getting the book out there.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pump you full of some Brene Brown. The story I'm telling myself.
I know. I listen to her a lot.
Yeah, she's great.
Yep.
Any more questions?
Well, I'm going to dig in a little bit on, you run a business almost virtual.
Yes.
And you have really, I think, tackled the concept of boundaries and metrics. You want to share just a little bit about that? You've told me about your Monday morning calls.
Oh, my team is like, oh no. So Tim and I, we went to another Darren Hardy, by the way, our second trip. We went on the second time, and in that one we got this idea of why can't we all work virtually, right? For a home builder, that's kind of crazy, by the way. And
Totally insane.
Woo!
Speaking from my business.
Right? We realized we needed a customer center, a place to meet the clients. But we went virtual, and we were a little apprehensive at first. But what we learned is because we have the core value and we hired the right people, that we didn't need to micromanage. Like if I have to micromanage you, I did a poor job at bringing you on the team. And it allowed everybody to be productive. So on our team, we run like a basketball team. Everybody has their lane. I think I need to write a book about being in your lane, right? So everybody's in a lane. And your lane you own, right? So what I do, only I do. And I own it. So I'm the one that has to think it up and be creative and all of that. So everybody has their lane. Well, in your lane, you have metrics. And this is Tim's idea. So this is Tim's lane. This is what he got from Darren Hardy, is keep it simple. So he simplified everything, which was hard for him since he's an engineer, but he simplified it and said, everybody, like, this is your metrics. This is what you have to do, and if you do this, then we know you're doing it. And if you're not, then we need to come in as a team and figure out why. And it's a box, right? You either do it or don't. There's no excuses. You know, Tony Dungy says, no explanations, no excuses, right? Love that. And so it's a box. So every week, a member of my team has to have 4 to 5. We're working till 5. We haven't gotten there yet. First appointments. So brand new clients to speak to every week. You guys are business people. That's a lot. And I'm a niche. I'm a build on land gal. But she has to do that. Well, she can't do that if I don't bring in the leads, right? So if she has a whole thing of things she has to do in order to make that happen, and then we've got a gentleman that he has to do X amount of homes per month. And everybody knows their number. And everybody knows what they have to do in the company. So you stay in your lane. And because of that, we are able to work virtual, and everybody gets to focus on what they need to, and everybody's held accountable. I will say that if the pipeline dwindles up, whose fault is it? It's mine, because I'm the Rainmaker. So if I don't do my lane well, then that whole team falls apart. And I think that's something as business people, if you own a business or you're entrepreneurial, you're a prospector. I want everybody to look in the mirror and say, I'm a prospector. Because if you don't, your business won't grow. Right? And so I'm the prospecting arm. And the lifeblood of that company is based on what I do every day. I have to do it. Or all these people who make good livings lose their job. Not to mention all my trades. Right? And the organization, everybody treasures it. When they know I'm prospecting, they allow me to do it because they understand the magic. And so we meet on Monday and everybody's accountable. And just this Monday, my girl's she's doing her role, but she's struggling. So guess what? They were like, you need to go do what you do. You need to get us more leads. Yes, yes, I'm on it. So, but anyway, that's how we've done it. So it's hiring the right people, having very clean, simple metrics, and having people wanting to win, right? Yeah. So everybody on my team want to do really well at what they do.
Boundaries. Mm-hmm. My therapist taught me about boundaries. And I was on a panel and someone asked me a question and it came out and I was like,
oh, I'm scared now.
Well, so you also brought in boundaries. With your schedule and your calendar and boundaries of staying in your lane. You had told me about a story of something was going wrong and you started going down this rabbit hole and Tim was like,
yep.
Why didn't you just call me?
Yep.
So how did you get to that point to be so comfortable to have the boundary of blocking out your schedule to say, no, I'm busy. I'm a Rainmaker. How do you get comfortable in that space and step away knowing that there may be a fire or, right? Because for me, I know I have to step away, but too often I'm still kind of putting my ear to the door. Like, is it burning down? Like, what are you guys doing in there? How do you separate yourself? How do you have that boundary to go do what you do? And
that is an excellent question. It's not easy. Okay, I'm going to just say that. Because you are consistently worried about, is so-and-so doing what they need? You know, you're worried about the whole thing. A business is like a child, right? And so you're constantly thinking about all the things. Pardon me. But one of the things that I learned is in order to be successful, you have to be focused. And you have to focus on the things that matter. And I have to do activities that make an impact. Mm-hmm. And worrying doesn't make an impact. Right?
That's a really good point.
So I learned, and Tim really helps me with this. Tim made me sit down, and he made me understand how valuable what I do is. Right? And because of that, then it's easier for me to block this out and say, y'all, good luck. I got to do this because I'm so valuable at doing this. Mm-hmm. And so he has created a culture to where every single one of us, everyone has what he calls a core metric. That thing where if we apply ourselves to that one thing, we'll make the whole company rise, right? We'll excel. And there's other things you have to do, but it helps you prioritize, mm-hmm. right? If I know, hey, this is the thing that I'm really good at, which mine is prospecting, I have to do that. No, I have other jobs I have to do, but that one gets done first.
Right.
Because it's the most important. And then I'll make time for the other things. And then what gets weird is when you teach other people that. So then when people look at your calendar, they're like, oh, she's prospecting, I gotta leave her alone, right? Because I think, especially, this is one thing about virtual, nobody can come to your door and bug you, right? Which that's nice. Or you don't have them talking over the water fountain, right?
Yeah.
So it eliminates a lot of that. But if you are in a setting, think about this. If everybody understood, and when we had an office, I put a little note on my door that said, I'm doing my one thing. And so everybody knew, leave her alone. And I literally said, unless my daughter's on the way to the hospital, leave me alone, right? And I think I told you this, which is funny. One of my assistants, Pam, she's just so cute. She was in the front area, and one of our vendors came by. And my door was shut with that sign on it. And he opened my door, and she came running. No, leave her alone. She's doing her thing, right? The whole company knew, like, she's doing her thing. Because guess what? Everybody understood if Athena doesn't do her thing, they don't get a paycheck.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's clarity.
Yeah. So let Athena do her thing. So Tim knows that if he creates a culture that allow Athena to go be Athena. I had an assistant a couple years back that had 2 MBAs and all this fancy stuff. And this particular person looked at one of my PowerPoints and told Tim that he was appalled by it because it looked like it was done by somebody in elementary school. And Tim said, well, I pay you to do those, not her. Boom! I was like, that's right. Not mine. Because he's like, I don't pay her. Like, she's not a Rainmaker. She's not the PowerPoint maker, right? So he has, there's a lot of ways because I'm not, I can't spell very well and stuff that I could have insecurity. And he has just allowed me to have value in the lane I'm good at.
Wonderful.
And so I feel secure and comfortable and protective.
So my last question, what would you tell to entrepreneurs out there today? What's their next step, or what would you tell them right now that would inspire them?
Well, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier, and that is seek help. Know you're not alone. And don't give up. And don't buy into the excuses, because we all have them.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and being so open.